2020 has been a bit of a weird one. A deadly virus has taken a hold of the planet, everyone's gone a bit mad and started smashing up the towns they live in, and the two most powerful countries in the world are being led headfirst into disaster by two men who can barely stand upright. The video game industry has been no stranger to this chaos. For months on end, it seemed as if the promised next generation of console gaming was never going to surface. The details were sparse, the price was a mystery, and the release dates were nothing more than a wild guess. But finally, in the early weeks of September, a mere 8 weeks from a suspected launch window, we finally heard details of what Sony and Microsoft have to offer. First up was Microsoft, whose offerings sort of trickled out like a difficult poo, with a smattering of leaks that ruined the surprise for everyone. These leaks, however, were handled quite well by the Xbox marketing team, who chucked up the odd meme on Twitter to quell the crowd, and then outright confirmed what was leaked mere hours after. Nonetheless, Xbox managed to turn the untimely revelation of everything it had to show in its favour, much to the praise of the online community. Ultimately, the price of the Xbox Series S and the Series X was seen as favourable, and welcomed with open arms by gamers who had long been worried that this generation would be an expensive one. Microsoft had turned what could have been a bit of a shit show for them into a successful and somewhat unconventional console reveal, putting the pressure on Sony.
Eric, did you just take a crap on my desk?
In a much more conventional showing, Sony's PlayStation Showcase revealed what they had up their sleeve just a week later, and it is a showcase that I want to focus on in this video. You see, it was that showcase that really brought to light what this next generation of gaming is going to look like from a PlayStation perspective, and that perspective seems to be a warped one. One that genuinely puts PlayStation on the back foot, not just against Microsoft, but against an entire gaming industry that's moving forward with the times. So let's start off with the facts. The much sought after PlayStation 5 is coming to the UK and Europe on the 19th of November at the sum of £449 for the standard edition and £359 for the digital only edition. Everywhere else, including the US, gets it a week early on the 12th. Now this, on the face of it, is a very reasonable price tag in 2020. All you have to do is compare these prices to the original PS4 price of £349 when it launched 7 years ago, and you can see that the value proposition is ostensibly high. A £359 hit on the credit rating for a digital PlayStation 5 is hard to argue with then, letting you in the door of next-gen technology at a bit of a bargain price. This also undoubtedly puts Sony in a very competitive position with its main rival, Microsoft. Their next generation offerings, the Xbox Series X and Series S, were revealed at the price of £449 and £279 respectively. Although at this stage it must be made clear that the Series S is an entirely different console to the Series X, wielding a little less power in exchange for a truly budget entry into a newer, albeit comparable technology. There is, however, a glaring problem with the PlayStation 5. And how it represents this next generation as a whole that puts into question the very need for new consoles at all. It's just that this fast approaching next generation isn't really all that next generation to begin with. All of these high-powered specs, impressive teraflops, and big swinging SSDs are supposed to propel video games to dizzying heights. We are supposed to be getting games that blow our minds with realism, games that break the mold in terms of gameplay and smash through the ceiling of the old into the glistening realm of the new. However, in the PlayStation 5 showcase, the biggest things that Sony showed off were things that we've already seen the likes of before. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, Final Fantasy XVI, Black Ops Cold War, and a cock tease of God of War 2 are all experiences that we've already had in one form or another. In fact, one of them is a game from 2009, and another is just a jumped up piece of DLC packaged as a full game. It doesn't exactly lead me to believe that the future of gaming is going to be this wild jump that it's been promised to be. Instead, it seems that it's just going to be the very same experience we have now, with a bit of ray tracing technology thrown in, so a game from 11 fucking years ago has a couple of nice reflections. This sentiment was only further backed up by Sony in their PlayStation blog post after the event, when they confirmed several of their PlayStation 5 exclusives would in fact be available on PlayStation 4. Quote, "We know that the PS4 community will transition to PS5 at different times, and we're happy to announce PS4 versions of some of our exclusives. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West will also launch on PlayStation 4, end quote. So apparently then, the only reason to buy a PlayStation 5 is to get a handle on that new DualSense controller that's supposed to vibrate louder than your mum's special toy, and to play fucking Astrobot whatever the dick it's called. It's just a very weird approach to take, one that obviously indicates Sony isn't quite ready to move away from the PlayStation 4. Now this could be because they knew the leap wasn't going to be as significant. I wouldn't necessarily get everyone on board right away. This seems to be the official narrative, with them stating the PS4 community will transition to PS5 at different times. Or perhaps they knew constraints on stock would be an issue. After all, pre-orders so far have been a bit of a shit show, so keeping the old generation relevant and keeping that audience buying the new titles is important. Or maybe, just maybe, the gaming scene is changing, and the old-fashioned approach to console iterations like this just isn't going to slap like it used to. The inclusion of PS5 games on PS4 is indicative of this, and Sony's realization that pricey sequential iterations of consoles are and should become a thing of the past. Unfortunately for Sony, their approach is still rooted in the past, and seldom takes into consideration what the future is really going to look like. For a long time, a change to a mobile phone model has seemed the most sensible move to be made by console manufacturers. One that offers consoles at an affordable monthly price with chances to upgrade later on down the line. Microsoft seems to have recognised this and has made adjustments to its model to incorporate this shift. The Series X and Series S are both available through an Xbox All Access program that offers their new console with all the benefits of Game Pass Ultimate for a low monthly cost and the option to upgrade. The inclusion of a Series S model, a budget entry into the next generation of gaming, also opens up another segment of the audience. An audience that might have a lower income but that can now still have an affordable way into the next gen console market. This variable model also leaves room for Microsoft to insert new consoles as the technology develops at later points in time, making the reasoning for their games to work across all variations of their consoles all that more legitimate. Whereas the PlayStation 5 has just proven Sony are stuck somewhere between an antiquated mentality and a more modern one. There's somewhat of an understanding from them that people might not be ready to move on, but instead of offering different entry points, they've left us with just one. Sony has simply taken the wrong approach in terms of player inclusion, one that might turn around to bite them. In a vapid attempt to make sure all gamers are served, they've compromised the most compelling selling point of any new console, the new experiences. By making those new exclusive experiences available on the machines everybody already has, Sony has made it very difficult to just divide the purchase of a PlayStation 5, even at such an easy to swallow price point. And all of this pains me to say because I am and always have been a lifelong PlayStation fan, but I truly believe the PlayStation 5 is a very pointless machine right now. Its relevance isn't going to come into play for at least another year or so, and its affordability is face value only, offering no flexibility for gamers or inherent return on investment. And all of this begs one very simple question. Why not wait? If all the games are going to be on current generation consoles, why not delay the next gen until there is a real reason to buy it? Until there are genuinely exclusive experiences that can't be found anywhere else. They have fallen short here, where Microsoft have leaped forward. Microsoft has recognised the potential irrelevance of their Xbox machines and instead shifted toward a more service-heavy model, one that incorporates a wider gamut of audience, offering purchase options across the board that actually benefit the consumer. I mean look, you can pay £28.99 a month for an Xbox Series X for 2 years, which will cost £695 in total, and that's with Game Pass Ultimate. If you buy it outright at £449 and subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate for 2 years at £10.99, you'll end up paying £712 in total. So the pay monthly option is actually cheaper. But this is what Microsoft is doing. They are offering options. Options to get into this new technology at affordable rates so that when the time comes, when the true next generation experiences are ready, you are ready. PlayStation is selling you a console at a flat fee of £360 without anything to play, without any service model that is even close to Game Pass, and expecting to do so on the back of games that are going to be available on the PlayStation 4. Sure, Microsoft is in the same boat. Their games are also playable on current gen consoles. But Microsoft has shifted its messaging. You're not buying into the console for the experience anymore. You're buying into it for the service. You're buying into it because it is going to be the most affordable place to play games, period. The PlayStation 5 doesn't offer this level of service. It doesn't even offer the best place to play your Sony exclusive games anymore. Because for the foreseeable future, most of those are playable on a machine that you already own and that you won't have to pay for. Now, does this mean I won't be buying into PlayStation 5? Of course not. I will eventually want to buy into the next gen, whatever that might look like. My PlayStation 4 is currently sounding like a small child being pushed through a wood chipper. And is genuinely seconds away from imploding. So an upgrade is definitely necessary for me. But that's all the PlayStation 5 feels like. It's an upgrade. It's a small incremental step from the past, not a giant leap into the future. The only problem is that they haven't told us that yet. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure they even realise it themselves.